Hello. In the early 16th century, William Anthony of Flanders, a supplier of beer to the Navy Royal, migrated to England. His son, imaginatively named Anthony, continued his father's business before becoming an official of the state as a gunner at the Tower of London. He was soon promoted to the position of overseer, eventually rising to become Master Surveyor of Ordnance at the Tower, with responsibility also for Calais and for Boulogne after the town's capture in 1544. Anthony produced a record of Henry VIII's naval fleet on 3 separate rolls of vellum, each roll around 15 feet in length, which he presented to the king in 1546. All 3 were kept in the Royal Library. In 1680, 2 of the rolls were given to Samuel Pepys, then Secretary to the Admiralty, by Charles II. Pepys had the membranes cut up and made into a book, which is now in the Pepys Library at Magdalen College, Cambridge. A 3rd roll was given by William IV to his illegitimate daughter by Dorothea Jordan, Lady Mary Fox, who sold it to the British Museum. That copy is now in the British Library. The Anthony Roll is an important record containing the only contemporary descriptions of 58 naval vessels, many of which are pictured, including the carracks Henry Grâce à Dieu, commonly known as Great Harry, and the Mary Rose. From an illustrative perspective, the artwork is approximate, rudimentary rather than precise. Lots of ceremonial banners and heraldic flags fly from the masts, and there's a certain formulaic element to the images. The main purpose of the artwork was probably to impress the king, but accompanying the pictures are highly accurate inventories which detail the size of each ship and its crew, its armaments and basic equipment. Anthony tells us the largest ship in the fleet, the Henry Grâce à Dieu, was 1,000 tons and had a crew of 700, 301 sailors, 349 soldiers and 50 gunners. He then lists the cannon by size, the stocks of shot and gunpowder carried, other munitions, bows and arrows, and sundry items he terms habiliments for war. This is the Grand Mistress, a large 3-masted galley without the castles of a carrack, a design known as a galleass. Below each image is an inventory. That for the Grand Mistress is shown here, followed by an illustration of another galleass, the Anne Gallant. The layout follows the same pattern throughout the roll, with the text in columns below the relevant image, accurately describing the size of each ship and its crew, armaments and equipment. This is the Salamander, a galleass captured in an engagement with the Scottish Navy at Leith in 1544. Built in France, Salamander had been a wedding gift to James V of Scotland from the French King Francis I and served as a Scottish flagship. There is a figurehead carving of a salamander crawling along the ram at the bow. This is the Cloud in the Sun, a small fully rigged vessel with oars known as a pinnace. Henry's navy was built to counter the threat of a French invasion and largely funded by the proceeds from the dissolution of the monasteries. The Anthony Roll is an intriguing document and as a contemporary record of Henry VIII's Navy Royal, invaluable. There were occasions when the system for provisioning the fleet broke down, but on the whole the crews of the period were reasonably well fed, with each sailor receiving a ration of biscuits, salt beef, fish on Fridays, butter, cheese and beer. Beer was useful as a way of providing liquid in bulk that would keep for the duration of an expedition. Sourcing sufficient quantity from small domestic brewers was a problem, and under Henry VIII, Crown-owned brewhouses were established in an attempt to ensure adequate supplies. After experiencing something of a high point under Henry VIII, under Edward VI, and for most of the reign of Mary I, the royal fleet was once again neglected. Not long before she died, Mary appointed Sir John Hawkins as Treasurer of the Navy Board. After the accession of Elizabeth I, and facing the threat of a Spanish invasion, the Navy became a priority, and under the guidance of Hawkins, led the way in technical innovation. I shall say more about that next time. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell to be informed when the next video is available, or you can subscribe by clicking on the rose window over my shoulder.